Kyle Busch finally opened up on the incident between himself and Corey LaJoie at Pocono, promising on the Pat McAfee show that he would indeed give payback to Corey LaJoie sometime in the future, and expressed how kind of disgusted he was by Corey LaJoie's racing. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. Also, hit that like button. Let's get more people to watch this video here. Let's just jump right into it here. This is a clip from the Pat McAfee show where Kyle Busch talks about the incident with Corey LaJoie at Pocono this past weekend here. Let's take a listen.
That's rubbing is racing, I guess. So those guys were rubbing each other. Yeah, that's just banging off one another. Like,
allowed to do that. Allowed to do that.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, close quarters racing, that's a short track. You're coming off the corner. It's tight anyways, you know. So, like, stuff like that's going to happen. I think what isn't allowed to happen is basically what happened to me last weekend at Pocono with Corey LaJoie. We were on a restart. We're all kind of fanning out at Pocono down the front straightaway. This is post of it.
38 to go. This is afterwards. I'll probably run the replay.
Yeah, exactly. When they run the forward.
But what's he going to do whenever we see this replay when it inevitably comes here? I think hopefully
our guys backstage. We're working on it.
There we go. Okay, so here it is.
So I'm over to the right. I just shoot off the screen there, and so that's Corey to my inside. And I was blocking him. Well, we're already like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm the fifth car. I'm 5 wide. And then you'll see down here on the bottom right of the screen, the yellow line will start coming up. And so Corey's like, well, I got to get back on the racetracks. There's the yellow line. And so instead of just blending in behind me and making sure that he doesn't crash the whole field,
he clips you.
He just clips me. And like, that's like stupid. Like, what are we doing? We're going 190 miles an hour into that corner, and we're going to wreck each other?
Yeah, now you're wrecking 6 other people as well, because obviously at that speed, you're not just going to be able to stop. You're going to be sent elsewhere. It's like when people are walking and you just kick their back leg. You can't do that. In hockey, it's called a slew foot, actually. It's like
don't do that.
So in driving, that is also a very common thing, like, hey, don't pit maneuver something.
And that's the second time he did that this year. He did it to 7 times Jimmy Johnson at Kansas.
Okay, so do you guys have a conversation, like a players-only meeting, like a drivers-only
No, I didn't even know. He texted me, and then he called me, and I didn't even reach back out because he changed his story 4 times. So I'm like, you're just a liar. Like, you wrecked me. Like, I get it. It's fine. Whatever. Payback's coming.
But you guys are going 200 miles an hour. You have to have a lot of little faith in each other, right? Because you're all...
I don't have faith in any of them.
That's
really. I mean, that's scary. Individual,
terrifying. Yeah.
I mean, I've been wrecked 5 out of the last 7 races by somebody. So I don't have faith in. Maybe I'm just slow and I'm in the way.
Nope.
And they know I'm slow, so I'm an easy guy to pass.
You're
so
Busch.
they just want to. So they're just like, they just want to knock me out. And
does your car suck or no? You have a good car.
Our cars have not been that great right now. We're working on it. I mean, we've come to a lot of things of what we're kind of learning about and figuring out. Last year we were good. Like, I joined RCR, we won 3 of the first 15 races or something like that. It was pretty good. And then we haven't won since, so it's been a bit of a dry spell. So we're working on it.
And that's not rally racing.
No.
The dry spell is not right, because I've been.
So that is what Kyle Busch had to say about Corey LaJoie and the incident at Pocono. Obviously, promising payback, calling his maneuver stupid, given the fact that they're driving 190 miles an hour there. I actually concur. I think that was an absolutely dumb move. I know a lot of people think that Corey LaJoie should have been penalized for that. I actually agree with NASCAR in this case. I do think it was kind of just a racing incident. Yeah, he made a dumb, stupid mistake, but I don't think there was malice or any kind of intention behind that. I think he just made a dumb, stupid racing move and ended up wrecking Kyle Busch and half a dozen other drivers. Let's actually take a look at it here. I know that they showed it a little bit there in that clip, but I think this is a better view here. We can see more of it, and we won't be actually cut off by the screen here. So let's take a look here. Obviously, we got the Kyle Busch is marked out for us. Thank you, NASCAR on NBC. Let's take a look at this here. So you can see he does indeed go down. He blocks Corey LaJoie, and then Corey LaJoie just comes up and gets him in the left rear and sends him up. And I don't know. I'm not sure if he did it on purpose. I think this is a really good look here. So he did indeed try and block him and then runs out of room, comes up and clips Kyle Busch. And he should have lifted. He should have lifted. He should have blended in. But we know that you can't lift on these restarts. This is where you make moves. And the person who lifts loses ground. He probably would have lost. I don't even know how far back they are. It looks like they're kind of midfield, probably around 20th. He probably would have dropped almost 10 spots if he did indeed lift. But he put himself in that position and he should have lifted. Instead, he wrecked a bunch of people, brought out the caution. So I think he should have lifted. But I understand why you don't lift, because this is where you make a lot of ground up, because it's really hard to pass in these cars, and the restarts are where you can make moves, where you can actually gain track position, and track position is absolutely 100% paramount this year and in these cars. If you can get out front, your car performs significantly better, and you have an easier time to block the person behind you with the aero blocking, especially on a track like Pocono or Kansas or Michigan, the 1.5 miles. So I know Pocono isn't 1.5 miles, but it is a high speed, tricky triangle, and you could do the aero blocking. And so it's really hard to pass. And if you're out front, you can it's much more easy for you to block like that. And so you got to make up the ground on the restart. And I think that's what Corey LaJoie was trying to do. That's why he didn't lift. And I think it was just a dumb, stupid move. And I think Kyle Busch was accurate in his assessment of that. And I think NASCAR was right not to punish him as well. Here's another look at it. Let's look at this from the in-car. This is Corey LaJoie's in-car. So pretty clear, Kyle Busch does indeed go down, tries to block that run, and then Corey LaJoie runs out of racetrack, comes up, clips Kyle Busch, sends him around, and the wreck ensues behind him as he continues on with his day. So what we heard from Kyle Busch with Pat McAfee was kind of different from what we heard with him at the track immediately after the race. He was extremely subdued in the NASCAR on NBC interview, which for some reason they haven't posted to X for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he basically didn't really say much. But he did speak to the media afterwards and called LaJoie a kamikaze. Let's take a listen.
Sometimes some don't lift. Kamikaze.
Did anything happen before that could have led to that?
Did you see where I was running today?
So obviously talking about not lifting, and we just kind of went over all of that. And you can't really lift on these restarts, as we said. So I'm not going to rehash that. We just went over that. But this is what Corey LaJoie had to say after the race as well. So let's just get his perspective here.
And it was like 4 wide, and I went to the left rear of the 8, and he blocked it once, and I kind of stayed straight. I was anticipating kind of our bumpers lining up and then, kind of pushing him forward and maybe him taking the lane, but he blocked again when I had a little bit more position on him and spun him out. I hate it took out him and some other guys, but that's just that's what you have to do. You have to take momentum when you have it, because if you don't, the guy behind you is going to put you in a worse spot than you're going to put the guy in front of you. So that's just how the racing is. You have to be super aggressive on restarts, and sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. You got to take the run. I don't want to, I'm not the guy that wants to wreck anybody. But I think if Kyle blocks only once, then we both, go around the corner and we live to fight another day. But that second block that he thought he had it covered and he didn't was what did him in and did a couple other guys in. But, man, it is really hard. It is so freaking hard to run 19th. I mean, it's all I got. Tongue hanging out. I think Kyle and I have been racing around each other long enough. We're not going to smash into each other on purpose. We both are guys that feel like we belong, certainly him, but I mean, I'm not going to say sorry. I'm not sorry about it, because that was the thing. And if the shoe was on the other foot, the exact same thing would have happened, and I think he would probably say that.
So that is what Corey LaJoie had to say in a number of interviews after the race. He said this double block thing. I don't see it. Let's watch this in-car here, because he's behind 71 here, which I think that's Zane Smith. I'm always getting Smith and Hocevar's cars mixed up, those Spire cars. I think Hocevar's 77, but and Smith is 71. So he's behind Zane Smith here. Kyle Busch is right there already to the inside. Zane Smith jumps down. Corey goes down. Corey is now to the inside of Zane. He's behind Kyle. Kyle clearly blocks right there. Pushes Corey down. So Corey is way down off the track. And then he comes up and hits him. Like, I don't know. I don't see the second block. I don't see where Kyle Busch does the second block. I just don't see it. I see one block, and then he gets into Kyle's left rear and spins him because he's ran out of track there. I mean, let's just back it up a little bit here to where he gets behind Kyle. So right here, he's underneath Zane. Zane actually comes down and tries to block him, but is unable to. So Corey does have the momentum. He's got it's a really good restart for him. So he's now behind Kyle. Kyle comes down, blocks it. Corey gives him a shot, moves down, still has a really good run, and then just comes up and hits him. So I don't see the second block. I'm not really sure what he's talking about there. He obviously moves up here and clips him, and then Kyle's going to go around. And then there's the yellow line right there. He moved up because that's where he was coming up to the yellow line. So I don't see the second block. I think it was just a dumb racing move. I understand why he did it. I think he's absolutely right in his assessment that you can't lift. You got to keep going forward. And that's kind of how this happens. This is a racing incident. That has always kind of been what I've said. But I don't also fault Kyle Busch for saying Corey LaJoie's got it coming, because he did indeed wreck him. And I think that's part of why we like NASCAR. We like the drama. I know there's a lot of people like NASCAR's always got drama, but that's one of the reasons why we like racing, is because there is so much drama. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like Dale Earnhardt Jr. spinning Terry Labonte and then coming in victory lane and saying, I was just rattling his cage? Who doesn't like that? That's drama. We love that stuff. I love this stuff too. I think that's one of the big reasons why we like racing, why we like NASCAR. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of Kyle Busch saying that he's going to give some payback to Corey LaJoie after being spun out by him at Pocono last Sunday? Let me know in the comments below.